Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be reading you guys a book called Hands and Luck, written by the Grimm's brothers. Here we go. Hans had served his master 7 years, and at last said to him, "Master, my time is up. I would like to go home and see my mother, so give me my wages." And the master said, "You have been faithful and a good servant, and your pay shall be handsome." Then he gave him a piece of silver that was as big as his head. Hans took out his pocket handkerchief, put the piece of silver into it, and threw it over his shoulder, and jogged homewards. As he went lazily on, dragging one foot after another, the man came in sight, trotting along gaily on a capital horse. "Ah!" Hans said, as if he was at home in his chair, and trips against no stones, spares his shoes, and yet gets on he hardly knows how. The horse heard this and said, "Well, Hans, why do you go on foot then?" "Ah," he said, "I have this load to carry. To be sure it is silver, but it is so heavy that I can't hold it up my head, and it hurts my shoulders sadly." "Why do you say, what do you say to changing?" "Excuse me," said the horseman. "I will give you my horse, and you shall give me silver." "With all my heart," said Hans. "But I'll tell you one thing, you have a weary task to drag along." The horseman got off and took the silver and helped Hans up, gave him the bridle to his hand, and said, "Whenever you want to go fast, you just smack your lips loud and cry, 'Jip.'" Hans was delighted as he sat on the horse and rode merrily on. After a time, he thought he should like to go a little faster, so he smacked his lips and cried, "Jip," and away the horse galloped, and before Hans knew what he was about, he was thrown off and laid in a ditch by the roadside. And the horse would have run off if a shepherd who was coming by a cow had stopped it. Hans soon came to himself and got up upon the legs again. He was sadly vexed, and said to the shepherd, "This riding is no joke. When a man gets on a beast like this, that stumbles and flings him off as if he would break his neck. However, I'm off once for all. I'd like a cow a great deal better. One can walk along one's leisure behind her. I have milk, butter, cheese, every day into the bargain. What would I give to have such a cow?" "Well," said the shepherd, "if you were so fond of her, I will change my cow for your horse." "Done," said Hans merrily, and the shepherd jumped upon the horse and away he rode. Hans drove off his cow quietly, though his bargain a very lucky one. "If I have only one piece of bread, and I certainly shall be able to get that, I can, whenever I like, eat my butter and cheese with it, and when I am thirsty, I can milk my cow and drink the milk. What can I wish for more?" When he came to an inn, he halted and ate up his bread, and gave away the very last penny for a glass of beer. Then he drove his cow towards his mother's village, and the heat grew greater as noon came on, till he last found himself on a wide heath that would take him more than an hour to cross. And he began to be so hot and parched that his tongue clave to the roof of his mouth. "I can find a cure for this," thought he. "Now I will milk my cow and quench my thirst." So he tied her to the stump of a tree, held his leather cap to milk into, but not a drop of milk was to be had. While he was trying his luck managing the matter very clumsily and uneasily, the beast gave him a kick to the head that knocked him down, and there he lay, long while senseless. Luckily, the butcher soon came by, driving a pig in a wheelbarrow. "What is the matter with you?" said the butcher as he helped him up. Hans told him what happened, and the butcher gave him a flask, saying, "There, drink and refresh yourself. Your cow will give you no milk. She is an old beast, good for nothing. But the slaughterhouse Alas, alas, said Hans. Who would have thought of it? If I killed her, what would she be good for? I hate cow beef. It's not tender enough for me. If I were a pig now, I could do something with it. If I would at any rate make some sausages. Well, said the butcher, to please you, I'll change. I'll give you the pig for the cow. Heaven reward you for your kindness, said Hans, as he gave the butcher the cow and took the pig off the wheelbarrow and drove off, holding it by the string that was tied to his leg. So on he jogged, all seemed now to go right with him. He had met some misfortunes, to be sure, but he was now well repaid for all. The next person he met was a countryman carrying a fine white goose under his arm. The countryman stopped and asked, what was o'clock? And Hans told him all his luck and had been made so many good bargains. The countryman said he was going to take the goose to a christening. Feel, said he, how heavy it is. And yet it's only 8 weeks old. Whoever roasts and eats it may cut plenty of fat off of it. It slips so well. You're right, said Hans, as he weighed it with his hand. But the pig is no trifle. Meantime, the countryman began to look grave and shook his head. Hark ye, said he, my good friend, your pig may get you into a scrape in the village I just came from. The squire has a pig stolen out of its sty. I was dreadfully afraid when I saw you that you had got the squire's pig. It will be a bad job if they catch you. The least they'll do, I will be to throw you into the horse pond. Poor Hans was sadly frightened. Good man, he cried, pray get me out of this scrape, and you know this country better than I. Take my pig and give me the goose. I ought to have something into the bargain, said the countryman. However, I will not bear hard upon you, as you are in trouble. Then he took the string in his hand and drove off the pig by the side path, while Hans went on homewards, free from care. After all, he thought I have the best bargain. First, there will be a capital roast, then the fat will find me in the goose grease for 6 months. Then there are all beautiful white feathers. I will put them into my pillow, then I am sure I shall sleep soundly without rocking. How happy my mother will be. As he came into the last village, he saw a scissor grinder with his wheel, working away and singing. Hans stood for a while, and at last said, you must be off, Master Grinder. You seem so happy at your work. Yes, said the other. Mine is a golden trade. A good grinder never puts his hand in a pocket without finding money in it. But where did you get that beautiful goose? I did not buy it, but changed a pig for it. And where did you get the pig? I gave a cow for it, and the cow, I gave a horse for it, and the horse, I gave a piece of silver as big as my head for that. And the silver? Oh, I worked for that 7 long years. You have driven well in the world of hitherto, said the grinder. Now you could find money in your pocket whenever you put your hand into it, and your fortune will be made. Very true. But how is that to be managed? You must turn to the grinder like me, said the other. You only want a grindstone. The rest will come itself. Here is one that is a little worse for wear. I would not ask him more than the value of your goods for it. Will you buy? How can you ask such a question? Hans replied. I should be the happiest man in the world if I would take the money whoever puts it in my hand or my pocket. I want more. There's the goose now, said the grinder, as he gave him the common rough stone and lay by his side. This was the most capital stone, but Do but sorry. Do but manage it cleverly, and you can make an old nail cut with it. Hans took the stone and went off with a light heart. His eyes sparkled for joy, and he said to himself, I must have been born in a lucky hour. Everything that I want or wish for comes to me of itself. Meantime, he began to be tired, for he had been traveling ever since daybreak. He was hungry too, for he had given away his last penny in his joy at getting the cow. Further, and the stone tired him terribly. He dragged himself to the side of the pond that he might drink some water and rest a while. So he laid the stone down carefully by his side on the bank. But as he stooped down to drink, he forgot it, pushed a little, and down it went plump into the pond. For a while he watched it sinking in the clear water, then sprang up for joy, and again fell upon his knees, and thanked the heaven with tears in his eyes for his kindness in taking away his only plague, the ugly, heavy stone. How happy am I, he cried. No mortal was ever so lucky as I am. Then up he got with a light and a merry heart, and walked into the free from all his troubles, till he reached his mother's house. The end. Thank you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed that story, and have a good day. Now it's time for Hayon's commentary.
No. It's just pure shit. I'm not commenting. I'm still being nosy.
All right.
Hung up an hour ago. See, it's not entertaining.
Yep. Anyways,
sorry.
That's the end of the story. Hope you guys liked it. There will be no more commentary. Have a very nice day. Goodbye.
Come check this out.